Just days after the violence in Charlottesville, we're seeing a focus on Confederate statues and monuments across the country. That conversation picking up steam. Overnight, crews in Baltimore removed 4 monuments in the city. There was little fanfare, no advance notice. In 6 hours, it was over. The move by Baltimore's mayor was done quickly and quietly, and it sparked a lot of reaction from you. And some people are outraged, and we want to hear your thoughts right now. So weigh in. Do you think removing Confederate statues is erasing history? I think it's the wrong move. Vote right now at WUSA9.com/vote, or you can vote on the WUSA 9 app. Well, to talk about the removal of the statues in Baltimore overnight, Baltimore Mayor Catherine Pugh is with us from Charm City. So, Mayor, thank you so much for joining us on Off Script. Your city council authorized the removal of these 4 statues on Monday night. People were pretty surprised it happened this fast.
No, let's get it right. Let's get it right. Let's get it right. The city council put forth a resolution. A resolution is not binding. As I said and met with the city council president on Monday, that we were moving swiftly and quietly. And I had the authority to remove those statues, which is what I did. And my conversations began in June with Mayor Landrieu, who I tell people, if you've not heard a great speech about why these monuments should be removed, then you should listen to that speech. But I believe that all the speeches necessary have been made, and so I thought it was important, in lieu of what was taking place in our country, to move these statues as quickly as I possibly could. And having went through the process and making sure that we had the right tools in place, we began at about 11:30 last night, and we completed that task about 4:57 a.m. this morning.
So to your point, this was your decision and your decision alone. What you were saying about the city council is they had a resolution saying
no, the city council did. No, the city council did. Yeah, the city council did a resolution, and I appreciate that resolution. As I said to them, and as I said to the president of the city council, because we have been meeting about this, that we needed to move swiftly and quietly. I gave them all of the information, and so I was grateful for their support, and I'm grateful to the citizens of Baltimore who acknowledged that, this was the right thing to do. But I've always been pretty decisive. As you well know, we're right now facing a consent decree. We're at our final stages of getting that approved. We're looking at the 4 teams that we get to select from. And, you know, I just believe in making decisions, making them thoroughly, and putting action in order.
So your reasoning behind wanting to do this so quick, can you give us some context on the public's reactions to these monuments before they were removed? Had they become a real polarizing place for protests? I know 2 of them had been vandalized.
Yes, some have been vandalized. There were people who were protesting them. I just didn't want that kind of protest to swell up in our city. We've seen what has happened around the country, and so to me it is the appropriate time for all of us to look closely at these statues and to get them moved.
Have you heard any backlash, any anger, people against taking these statues down?
No, I'm sure there are people who have concern, you know, but for the most part, I would say that the feedback has been very positive. And again, you know, I felt that I made the right decision for Baltimore.
You know, I know you've heard the argument that taking these statues down is somehow a deletion of history. How do you counter that argument?
No, I don't think you delete history, because you can either somewhere put a plaque or record the fact that these statues existed in our city and they were removed for a specific reason, because they were adverse to what this country stands for today. You know, that we're about, you know, working together, being united, not fighting against each other. And, you know, our country needs to develop more love and respect for each other. And I think that this is the kind of move that we need to make all across our nation.
To the point you made just then, President Trump said of the events in Charlottesville, both sides are at fault, and that there are good people on both sides. What was your reaction to the president's press conference?
So let me just be real clear. I didn't listen to the president's press conference. You know, what I'm focused on is Baltimore City. I think that when you talk about the Confederacy, everybody knows that that is not the United States of America. We're talking about the United States of America, where we're a country that is diverse, should be more inclusive, that understands that when you lift the least, you lift all of us. And it's how we work together that we move our cities, our state, and this country forward.
Understanding that you didn't watch or listen to that press conference yesterday, there is something I want to draw out with you for a second. Kind of overlooked in the media back and forth with the president yesterday was what President Trump had to say about America's inner cities. I want you to listen to this with me, and let's discuss it on the other side.
Surely.
And I'll tell you, we're spending a lot of money on the inner cities. We're fixing the inner cities. We're doing far more than anybody's done with respect to the inner cities. It's a priority for me, and it's very important.
Are you seeing the influence of President Trump and the White House in the inner city of Baltimore?
Well, let me just say this, because I've had conversations with our congressional delegation. When he talks about infrastructure for cities, we need that infrastructure money. We look forward to getting it. We also need monies as it relates to the crime fight in Baltimore City. And we've had a lot of support at the state level, and we're looking for further support from the federal government, because everybody knows that when you look at what has happened to neighborhoods and communities, especially in urban environments that have been neglected for decades. We had urban development action grant monies that used to pour into cities for a long period of time. Those monies have not come into the cities as they should and as they need to in terms of how we revitalize neighborhoods and communities. We ourselves in Baltimore City own about 14,000 Board of Houses that we can turn into some healthy communities. We've proven it over in the East Baltimore community. We're doing it in parts of West Baltimore and in Central Baltimore. So we know that with federal help, we can continue to make Baltimore a great city.
Have you been seeing that help from President Trump, as he's taking credit for in that press conference yesterday?
Well, let me just say, we have a relationship with HUD. We have a relationship with the Department of Justice. We've gotten some support. We don't have infrastructure money at this particular point in time. We're looking for additional infrastructure money because we are under a federal mandate to fix our water system, and it needs to be fixed because we can't continue to put this on the backs of the people who live in our cities, because we've got to fix the pipes. We have no choice.
A great discussion, Mayor. I'm glad you were able to go so in depth with us tonight. Mayor Catherine Pugh live with us from Baltimore. Thanks so much for your time, Mayor. Have a great night.
Thank you for your time.